No trip is complete to Camp Cobb without a cruise through downtown Atlanta, Georgia. Now this is early in the morning, I don't know, 5 a.m. So get an early start, beat the traffic, and cruise right through. Normally this is just bumper to bumper. It is a beautiful city though. Beady Beady, hey Beady. We had everything in the suburbs, except this. As a single full-time dad of 2 boys, I wanted them to learn more than what screens can teach them. So we bought 22 acres of raw land and started building an off-grid weekend escape. This is Camp Cobb Off-Grid Escape. Okay, here we are at Camp Cobb, and it is at the end of February, about to be March, and our pond is lower than normal because of rainfall, and we're going to take advantage of putting pond dye in the pond to mask some of the UV rays that come in. That's going to create some of this vegetation, accelerated vegetation growth during the spring and summer months. So here we go. All right, so first things first, get our pond shade. We're gonna use this Aqua Shade. It's a black tint dye. So our pond is an acre, so about a gallon. Probably gonna try to do a little less and then add more as we need to. So we will take this. We're gonna need this and our pump sprayer. Last time I did this, I did a different way, but this time I'm gonna use this pump sprayer and see how this works. So let's go put this in our buggy. It's not gonna ride there, so let's get it in here. There, put that there, put our handle in. What else? Get our trolling motor. Check, 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 check. All right, take off the old battery charger. So rain, man, it's been pretty all week in the suburbs. Now it's wet at Camp Cobb. Oh, let's put this right here. Oh, my butt's probably gonna get wet anyway, so here we go. Fine-tune engine right there. All right, let's go in reverse and go. Here we go. There the dog's ready. Turn this thing around. There's Petey. Here we go. Through the pond. Look out, dogs. fish feeder. Good, we didn't lose nothing. All right, let's see. These poor fish haven't been fed because it's all, I think the battery's down. What does it say? With the battery's fair. What's the time set to? Because I've been checking it. Time is 2:48 a.m. No, it's not. Good, they have been getting fed. I just haven't, I had it set to 8 a.m. in the morning, but I did rewire this thing the other day, so it probably lost its memory and time set. Let me give these boys some food. Oh, I see them. There we go. Are they hungry? Oh, yeah, babies. There they are. Come on, get it. I know it's not the normal day. Put this back on. I am going to reset the time on this Texas Hunter heater. Because I like to be able to, I'll show you something. That camera up there. No, wait, it's not over there anymore. It's over there. I don't know if you can see it across on the island. It's a 3G, 4G cellular camera. And I can log on home at the Suburbs and see when the fish feeder goes off. I like to do that. So I am going to set this timer back to 8 a.m. in the morning. So we're at the Camp Cobb pond. It's right at the end of February, going into March, and our pond has lost the last bit of pond dye we put in it. It's back to kind of really clear. Can't really tell now without much sunlight. But we need to get some more pond dye in it before the sunlight becomes intense for the springtime, so it's growing all the vegetation. So last time we did a blue pond dye, and today we're going to try a black pond dye. It's supposed to be a little bit more a UV filtering, so less light penetrates and grows the vegetation, which is something we're really trying to get rid of right now. So stay tuned. We'll show you the after image of everything and what it looks like, but I don't know if you'll be able to tell. We'll see. So you can see right here the vegetation that we are trying to get rid of. It's just disgusting, but what it all is really is mostly just years and years of all these trees being around the pond and dumping leaves and all kinds of organic material into there, feeding the nutrients of the pond and then allowing the weeds to grow. We have successfully gotten down most of the trees on this side, working on it down there on that side, but we still have these sides to go, and we'll get them down by this spring. But today, let's get some pond dye in the water to keep the light out and stop feeding the weeds. Man, there's some fish in here, but they are all hiding up in them weeds. And they've got so much hiding places to stay away from the bass. And I have read and heard that you should only have about, I don't know, 10 to 20% weeds and coverage for small fish to forage in and hide in. So the objective is to get these trees down, get the weeds out of here, get the muck out of here, and let the bass eat. So here's what we got for spraying the pond with the dye. We're gonna cruise around with the little trolling motor. So a 1 acre pond, and we are going to use this stuff here, Aqua Shade. It's a black tint. One of these gallons is supposed to treat 1 acre of pond. We put almost every bit of it in there. I guess we got about a fourth left. And we put it in here and mix it with water. This automatic 2-gallon sprayer. Looks pretty cool because this is a rechargeable wand, not the battery thing. And so we're gonna give this a try and see how it mixes with the dye and sprays out the back of the trolling motor as we grow along and spread it evenly in the pond. Last year we did it differently. We used a big 2-gallon water pump and trash pump to mix it into a like 250-gallon tote and then just spray it everywhere in the pond. That was just a lot of work, and it spread it evenly and really quick and good, but it was just a lot of work with the equipment. So a little lighter approach here. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so here we are out on the pond. The dogs are over there watching carefully, making sure we do the right thing. And so, okay, so we put the battery speed on 2 and just hit on off here. And there you got that. And we got the whole pond to do. So let's just give it a quick test and see how it sprays out. So you hit on and it just keeps going. Oh, well, that looks pretty good. I wish it would just, when you let off the button, it would turn off. But when you have to hit the button twice, one for on and one for off. But nonetheless, that sprayed it pretty quickly. I wish I could turn that down. I'm gonna turn the battery speed down to 1. And I need to get cruising here. Anyway, we'll see how this goes. So I had to abandon the boat and get out, I think by shore, maybe covering it a little bit better, or at least more easy. The problem is with our pond is there's just so many weeds in it right now, and it's low, so that trolling motor's constantly getting caught up in the weeds. So I got the bulk of the deep end. Now in the shallow end, I'm just going through around the edges and hitting these really weedy edges. But yeah, you see, pretty cool. Okay, I've seen many videos on YouTube about how to get the vegetation out of your pond. You know, carp, drag some kind of contraption through it and yank it all out. What else? Weed killer. Anything short of weed killer. If you got a suggestion, please drop it in the comments. I am trying my best to figure out how to get rid of all this stuff in my pond. It's just everywhere. I can't even drive the trolling motor without getting stuck in a clump of it every now and then. I did release 10 carp in here. They were about 10 to 12 inches about 6 months ago. What else? I've dragged a rake along the edges. It's just too much for the rake. I've got my tractor. I'm thinking about throwing something out here in the pond, then pulling the tractor, pulling it through with the tractor and then lifting it up. But it's just, I feel like that's gonna be so time consuming. I have no idea. Short of coming in out here and getting in the boat and using the rake and just pulling it out clump by clump, but that could take forever. I think it's time for possibly weed control. Well, definitely time for weed control, but chemicals. Hate to say it, but I might have to do that. So a couple of times I thought maybe it might just be better if this was like weed killer spray. You know, I really don't want to put chemicals in the pond, but you know, I've got weeds. Let me see if I can get them in the shot here. They're everywhere, just clumps of them throughout. And I know taking around down the trees is gonna prevent all the stuff flying into the pond future seasons, but I just got a lot of work ahead of me, I think, trying to get these current weeds out. You know, I'm gonna finish dyeing the pond, then I'm gonna come back and start pulling these trees down. I guess in the next phase, I'll start getting the rake and just pulling all these weeds and muck out of the pond. But if you know of a better way that's effective, short of using chemicals, please drop a comment below and fill me in on it, man, please. Okay, all done with the spraying of the pond. And as you can see, sprayed myself a little bit too. All right, so finally it is done. The 1 acre pond is dyed. So am I. So is the boat. But that was no fault of the sprayer. The sprayer was fantastic, I'll give it that. It's got a shoulder strap, which came in handy. It's a 2-gallon electric handle, which is very nice. Instead of the batteries, it wasn't some cheap battery handle. It was rechargeable with 2 different speeds and power on and off, adjustable wand. It was very nice. I would totally recommend it. Also, when I got low on the dye, I could just take this, let's see, it's hard to do with my hands full, but I could take this cap off right here, just dip it in the water, let it fill up. No worries with the pond dye coming out into the pond. It all stayed in there and it would just put more fresh water in. Very good to use, and I would recommend it if you're going to be dyeing your pond. But the thing that made it really tough was the weeds in my pond. They're so bad right now. It was hard to navigate with the trolling motor, so it was spray, use the paddle, just get around. If you were gonna do this, I would suggest going around the edge of the perimeter of and just walk around the banks and spray it as far as you can with the electric sprayer. That got it pretty good. I think it will all eventually concentrate to the middle, but at least first do that around the banks, and then if you want, then go out in your boat and get the middle part. But done, I'm glad it's done. we'll be tackling the weeds and all these trees along the shoreline, so future leaves and muck won't be dropping into the pond and feeding the weeds. PD approves. Reese never cares about anything, but PD approves. PD's a good boy. And we will see you in future videos where we take down the rest of these trees and we get the muck and the debris out of here for good. Then start growing some real fish. Okay, round 2. Pond dye's done, so that ain't the only thing we do here. We don't do just one tour at Camp Cobb and call it a day. We do as much as we can. So, you know, while we're at it, let's take a peep in here in the solar room and see how we're doing. We got a very cloudy day. It's been raining all day yesterday and today. I got here this morning, turned on the battery back up, and here's the one that powers the RV right there. And there's the battery backup, and then over here's the pond, or not the pond, but the well pump, water well pump, dedicated for that. It's I think this is a 24 volt setup, which is all I need for that 240 well pump, and 4 battery backups. That's never failed me. It's always given me plenty of water. It's been great. I'll do another separate video on just the solar here one day, but I just wanted to glance in here real quick and see if we have power, and those buttons right there is green buttons telling us the state of charge. So we're, you know, right at 90%. So we're good probably for the rest of the day easily. All right, let's come on out. Yeah, I'm going to do a video on all the solar because I got 3 different applications here, and I like to dedicate them to different things instead of having them all tied into one. For one reason is I don't want to overload anything with something when I use it with something else. Other 2 is they're just spread too far apart, so it's impossible. You couldn't run the line so far. So we're going to come into the trailer here and get us our chainsaws, because we're going to do some tree cutting. And I'll tell you what, guys, I've got a regular, let's see what this is. It's a gasoline. It's a 20-inch, I believe, and oh man, I forgot what size cc. It's a 2-stroke. Let's see, 52 cc. 52 cc. But I'm telling you what, the chain's always falling off that thing, and between the gas and the fuel and everything, nothing beats this sucker right here. Let me get it out here where we can see it real good. But this is a Greenworks 60 volt Greenworks, and it's a Greenworks Pro 60 volt Pro 16-inch blade. I mean, this thing works incredible. I've got 2 batteries for it, and I can cut all day on 2 batteries. It's taking lots of trees down, and compared to that gas 50 cc 20-inch blade, this outcuts it any day. I mean, it's just as sharp, it's almost just as powerful, but it's just so reliable and easy and smooth. It's way easier to work with. So we're gonna grab this sucker. Let's close this up. We got a little bit of rain today, and you gotta like that. I don't know why I even pulled that off. So let's head back around here. Okay, anybody who ever uses a chainsaw knows exactly what that is. And we certainly need this. We need our bar and chain oil. We got our 2 batteries. Let's boogie down. Boogie down to the pond where all the fish and the snakes are. La 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 la. All we're gonna do is get down here. We're just gonna start cutting trees. They gonna fall in the water, but I don't care. I'll come along another day with the tractor and the grapple, and I'll snatch them right out of there. That thing's been dry all winter long. We just got a little rain this weekend. It's starting to fill back up. see, all the trees need to be cut down. We've gotten both ends so far, got them pretty good, but there's still more. Anyway, in fact, I think I'm gonna just start on this side right here. As good a side as any, really. I'll show you what we've done already. As you can't already tell, I'm sure. I'm wanting to leave all, there's a certain type of, I don't know what it is, a spruce or some kind of, I don't know, pine or fir or something, but these trees right here, they've got very small needles in the summertime. I think they're kind of pretty. They don't get in the way, keep their limbs up. But yeah, take down all these big lolly pines and the deciduous trees with the broad leaves that really just put the muck out. So, yep, they're coming down. After all the trees come down, we'll get on these edges and start pulling out all this muck. This pond's real low, so now's a great time to take advantage of it. Okay, here we go. We got some trees going already. Let me... All right, I'll get this big tree down. This big pine. Another good time to do this is in the winter. Of course, the pines don't really matter, but definitely the deciduous trees, get them in the winter because the leaves are off. And when they go in the pond, there's not many in there. There won't many fall in there. Okay, here we go. Let's cut this notch. Come on. There's the notch. All right, let's get up here. All right. Buggy, look out. All right, here we go. Timber! Actually worked out. I'm going to put a line around that tree and pull it up this bank with a tractor so I can get my grapple on it. But this is all I can do for now if I'm cutting trees down. I've got to just cut them and let them go. I'll come back, put lines on them, pull them out. If anybody has a better suggestion on how to get these things up out of this pond, so I can grab them with the tractor, that would be appreciated. Yeah, I just gotta get the tractor and put some lines around them, yank them out. Let's cut them all down for now. Oh yeah. I didn't even cut that, but I'm about to. And the deforestation continues. We're gonna leave this booger. We don't want this one. This one's got those big deciduous leaves. I'm so glad I ain't knocked the chain off yet. I just jinxed myself because I'm sure it's coming next. Cut. Come off of there. There we go. All right. I'm gonna leave those 3. Again, I don't mind these trees like here. You know, I had a thought earlier when I was putting the dye in the pond is, you know, I was thinking, am I cutting all these trees down and these trees and these root systems and everything? You know, my concern was the roots were like drinking up, the trees were just drinking tons of water in the summertime, keeping the pond low. But if I cut them down, then they wouldn't drink so much water. But are they? And I've heard different reviews about you should leave them in because it keeps the erosion down and this and that. But these roots are still going to be in there a long time. And I don't think there's much erosion on these banks anyway. But my thing I started thinking is, are these roots in the water and are they filtering this water, making it really clear? I don't know. For now, I just want them to go away. If you have any thoughts or opinions on that, drop them in the comments. Something a lot of you may be asking is, why did I leave so much stump on these pines? And you notice I went kind of low on that one, more lower than I should or usually do. But if you ever cut one of these, it gets really, really tough down at the trunk. And you can save your chainsaw and your battery a whole lot if you just cut up a little bit higher where it's a little more tender. You know, you've got a stump to contend with anyway. So find that sweet spot and cut it where you need to. That's fine. All right. Here goes this guy. He's got a moderate lean towards the buggy, but I don't know. I'll keep playing it the same way I have. Been lucky so far. So there's my notch. You always want to cut just a little bit above it, and I like to go down at it a little bit at a slant. Got some interesting growth going on right here. Don't know what it is. You know, I was really talking up these batteries before I came out here, but this one's zonked already. I don't think you had a good solid charge on it. No need to fear. The other battery is here. Get my debris out of there. Put that in there. A little rain, so put that in there. Oh crap, my zipper broke. All right, here we go. What's this charge on this one? Good. It's just really tough. Oh no, I'm getting some lean. The other way, Superman! Oh my gosh, I'm strong. Or it just wasn't a real big tree. But I'm glad we got it worked the other way. The boogie would have suffered a massive blow. I see these two guys back here creeping still. All right. I mean, look how many trees I've cut with this thing already. I mean, a second battery, but I swear that first battery was not charged well. Chain hadn't popped off. It's just, you just can cruise with this thing. Yeah, I said that twice and then finally it came off. What do you expect? All right. I bet I can do this pretty quick. That's the biggest pine yet. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Okay. Progress. Totally have to go edit that part out where I said, man, you can cut all day on these 2 batteries. Trying to sound all cool and lumberjack macho. Oh, but anyway, look at what we did do. Fantastic. Man, cleared half of this bank in about 45 minutes. Let's go get the tractor. So, as you may can see behind me, we have plenty of trees down that we were cutting down to get them off the banks. Mostly because they're dumping so much and have dumped so much crap into the pond over the years. We have so much muck to clean out, debris, and it's just feeding that vegetation. All that dead organic matter is just feeding the vegetation. So get these trees down, get them out of here, clean up the banks. I mean, just look at all the muck on the banks, and then down in the water, rake all that out and get a much healthier pond here. So we have to get the tractor, come back here, pull them up off the bank, out of the water somehow. Usually I take a big line and just wrap it around there and pull them up. And then once I get them up here, I can grab them with the grapple. Well, let's get to getting. Open. There we go. Just a wee whittle guy, but we'll get him too. These down here look actually kind of favorable. I'm going to try to snatch one of these out. Gear, 4-wheel drive. many as we can before we have to start putting a line around them and yanking them up here. I better be careful. Okay, I think I got that one. Hang on to it. Get them up here. Ah, see, this bank sucks. All right, we're gonna change strategy. Go get a line around these and pull them up if we can. Oh, Mr. Petey chilling. Oh, the RV's a wreck. There's Mr. Reese. The official food of Camp Cobb is ramen noodle. Yeah, buddy. Pond dye on you. Look at your face. You got pond dye on you. Yeah, you were helping dye the pond today, weren't you, Reese? Good morning. Day 2 of the weekend at Camp Cobb. What we have in store today is to, we got to get back over there, obviously, and get those trees picked up that we cut down out of the pond. What else? The pond solar. It has been a nuisance. It's 2 48-volt battery packs tied to a 5 kilowatt inverter that runs the pond aerator and another small pump there when we need it. And it's been having a hard time holding charge. So we're going to get over there and troubleshoot that and see what's going on. Okay, we're here at the pond, and we do have a stop to make here to not repair, but put the battery back in of the fish feeder because we had to recharge it. Petey caught up, thank goodness. Hey, Petey. Reese, Petey. All right, yeah, they just had to recharge this battery. The solar system or the solar charger, just over time, it just doesn't give it enough juice on this fish feeder. Okay, so our current time is 7:31 in the morning. So we'll toggle through this. And 7. I do a feeding at 8 a.m. every morning. Depends on the season though, but we're going to start getting warmer weather, so I'm going to turn it on 2 times a day, but the first one will be at 8 a.m. So that is our current time. Feed 1, 8 a.m., 20 seconds. 1 p.m. off. That one's off. That's middle of the day. Let's go to the evening, and let's go ahead and turn this one on since it's starting to get warmer. These fish get hungry when it's warmer. Just go to off. This thing's a little tricky. Okay, there we go. Let's do another 20. I want my fish fat and happy. And if you pass it, you gotta start over. There we go. Carrying on here. Okay, all these feedings we're not gonna do. We see that our battery is now good. All right, we're gonna shut that right there. We are done replacing the small battery and programming the Texas Hunter Pro Series fish feeder. Excellent fish feeder. 30 minutes, we'll see it go off. These fish will be ready to eat. Okay, I got these disconnected, so let's take this whole big thing, which is very heavy, and put it in the buggy. I call it the buggy. Oh my goodness, that's heavy. And let's take this back to the base camp and get these charged up. All of them are 70% except one, which is 20%. And based on what somebody told me last night, you can put these in parallel mode, which they need to be. And I did just see that on the app. So we're gonna get these charged up, put it on parallel mode, and retry it. And that may help. Also, let me go ahead and test the volt. Please tell me my voltmeter's in here. It should be, yes, good. Let's test, see what the volts are on the remaining battery pack. Now these are the same type batteries. They are Life PO4 and they have a BMS, same brand, same amperage hours, but they don't have the Bluetooth connect, so you can't really tell them what to do. So I asked, what would you, what's the deal with putting these in parallel mode, and didn't really get quite an answer back, but I guess as long as one set of them do, that's better than nothing. All right, so let's see what these are. We're not gonna see individually, we're gonna see the whole thing. So let's put it here and here. We got 50.6. 50.6. That's pretty daggum drained. Divided by 4. So 12 point something. Needs to be 13 point something, so it should be well over 50.6. These need to go take back and charged as well. Oh, all right. Hopefully this is the last time I have to do this. I've done this like 4 times. Put that back. Let's grab this set here. There's that. Let's disconnect here. Yeah, there we go. That comes out. This will stay, obviously. There are my 2 leads to my inverter. This can come with us. I do have battery balancers also I started with. I have 2 sets of 4 strings, one for this and one for the other. And I had that on originally, and I had no better luck with that. It seemed like things were draining very fast with the battery balancers on. So I took those off. Someone last night said, well, they make an 8-string battery balancer, which would make total sense for these 8 batteries. You just learn something new all the time. I shouldn't be able to hand loosen this. It was pretty tight, but I need to get a pair of pliers, and that's another tip I got, was to come through and be sure everything's torqued down pretty good. You want about the same tightness, and you want them torqued down good. Any kind of looseness or variation could throw things off. Things are pretty sensitive. All right, so I'll take this one off. Put it here, and then we'll put these back on here before we lose them. All right, there we go. Now let's grab this big guy. Oh, yikes, ouch. All right, here's my pond aerator. This is what it's all for right there. Yeah, I probably never even said when I was talking about the set, what am I powering? I've got a pond aerator, and it's got two diffusers over here, kind of close together, and then one line running that way where I feed the fish around the island, and I have a diffuser there. But I took the diffuser off. I put the 2 diffusers here, and the line that runs there, I put one big 12 line splitter and used little 1/4-inch hoses to spread out the aeration in a larger area in smaller spots. I thought that was pretty clever and cool. The only thing is the lines want to float, those small lines, so I've got to find a way to get them down. But yeah, I'll go into that another day, the pond aeration, on another video, because that is a system in itself. And there's some things I want to do to that to change it. I don't want to say change it. We'll enhance it. I want to enhance it. I like what I got. I just want to add to it. This thing right here is probably 80, 90, maybe even 100 pounds. I wouldn't doubt it if it's over 100 pounds. Okay, there they are. Let's make sure everything's squared away over here. It may be a day before I get back over here. Looks like everything's good. Take our covers. I think the best thing we can do right now is just get back to camp and get these things on a charger so they can be charging while we do other things, like go over there and clean up the rest of those trees that we took down yesterday. All right. God, I gotta remember to get a pair of pliers in here. All right, meet you back at camp. Bye. Okay, so here's what I found. I found that, yeah, I did take it off parallel mode, but that did not help in the app. But then I switched it to discharging. And as soon as I hit discharging, it began to charge. I remember over at the solar system over at the pond that I had pushed charge or discharging or something like that over there. I guess something stuck there. I really got to know what I got to figure out what I'm doing here with these batteries. Learn by trial and error. That can be an expensive way to do it. So anyway, let's see here. We are charging now. I'm gonna let this go. I need to unload this one over here so we can get that tractor and get down there and start pulling those trees up out of there. I need to take my chainsaw too. So this time we can cut some of those logs apart and I have to deal with the whole tree, which is just too much sometimes. Here we go. Oh my gosh, that's heavy. Put this one over here. Oh, there we go. All right, that's going now. That's the one that's going to take the longest. Did I test? I didn't test any of these individual batteries. And I'm not going to either. So, put all this stuff up. It rains. It shouldn't be raining today. Should be no rain. The forecast is cloudy, and the sun's gonna come out later. Thank goodness. And then tomorrow, my last day here. Sun, pure sun. Okay. We got this. We need to grab the keys. I got the keys. We need a chainsaw. We need the 2 batteries. We are going to head back to the pond and start cleaning up these trees. All right. We will see you over there at the pond. Okay, we made our way here to the pond, and you see we have our work cut out for us. We got all those we got to pull out, cut, and I think the game plan will be to just turn the tractor up for now, cut most of these trunks off, about an 8 to 10 foot section, but leave enough sticking out of the water where we can still grab the tree and pull it with the grapple without having to do the lines again, and then handle it from there. So yeah, let's get down here and start doing some cutting. All right, I started grabbing a couple of these because they were just kind of a little bit smaller and at the right angle. So I grabbed 1 or 2 of these small ones on this side and went ahead and threw them on the stack over here. Man, I can't get over there. So now this one's just too long. So this one's got to be cut. We'll cut it, you know, just go right here. Always got to kind of understand where the pressure's at, and when this thing cuts and breaks through, which way is it going to shift and pop to? It can be very scary. I knew the weight was obviously here. Weight bearing was here. I thought it pushed down, so I went down the middle and it started tightening on me. That indicated that it was pinching like this, obviously with the weight down. Pulled out before my chainsaw got stuck, come underneath and come up, and it popped. I mean, that's the kind of crap you only get from doing it so long. You just can't read a textbook and come out here and start understanding stuff like that. It's like a lot of things. You get it with experience. I think the grapple will break that loose better. Break that loose. Break that loose. There we go. The stack is just getting too big right here. You know what? Let me grab these little guys. Oh, this is disgusting wet stuff. Yeah, the rest of the day, I think after we pull these trees up and get them out of the way, I'm just gonna clean this bank up right here real good. Maybe even throw the rake in the pond. I divide the work up. I don't like to do too much of one thing all weekend long. Oh, that's disgusting. Yeah, I'm just hoping by this spring or this summer we'll have the pond in pretty decent shape for my boys to fish in. Henry absolutely loves fishing. Not when they're not biting though. So I just want that pond where, man, he can come out and just slay them whenever he wants. Charlie, I think Charlie would like it if the action was better. We do catch some pretty decent fish sometimes out of here, but all right, that's the heavy stuff. Let's finish off this. All right. Okay. Well, aside from some small limbs and debris that the boys can help pick up, of course, I'm going to start on this bank anyway today. We are done with this part of the bank that we started yesterday. So making good progress. All the way from there to there. There's pretty clear. There's still a few pines over there I might get rid of. But the bulk of them now are here and over there. We'll just keep doing what we're doing. Stacking them up. Let's start cleaning up this bank. And let's head to the camp. Need to grab a tarp over here. It's pollen's already starting to come down really thick. I'm gonna wash this tractor real good, and when I store it this weekend, I am going to put a tarp over it. I swear I brought a tarp in here last weekend. Oh, it's back at the camp. That's right, I left it at the camp. Oh well, while I'm over here, why don't I just show you the little forty here. It's kind of cool. It's all metal. It was here when we bought the property. It was very interesting. In summer times, the wasps go crazy up here. But yeah, it's kind of cool. I like to get on top of this and clean it up a little bit, but I think this is plastic type stuff, so it's sealed good. Pine straws all over it, but it's not rusting or rotting anything. So it appears to be in good shape. But yeah, pretty cool view up here. Love it. One day we'll get all this work done. I don't know if that's possible. Guys like me always want something to fix and improve and make better. But one day, hopefully we can just sit back and just chill, enjoy it a lot more. And we do that on occasion, for sure. But all right, man, what a morning. Back here at the base camp in the RV, and got a lot done. Got the batteries charging, got them back to home base, getting them charged. Learned some new stuff on that. We'll hopefully keep the solar aerator going down at the pond in the future. We got the tractor down and we picked up all the trees on the bank that we cut down yesterday. We cut them down even more and used the grapple on the tractor to put them up into the pile. So the banks are free and they're ready to start raking up and clearing all the muck off of. So we'll be doing that later today. Right now it's time for lunch. I'm starving. These dogs are sleepy. Man, they get out there and run, try to keep up with me. So we'll check back later after lunch. Good morning. Morning 3 actually at Camp Cobb. Yesterday afternoon we ended with getting lunch, and then man, we were so tired. I say we, I'm talking about me and the dogs. My boys aren't here this weekend, but so tired that we just took the afternoon and did some fun things, and not so much fun things, but some easy, non-eventful things that would not be too interesting for the channel. Did some cleaning up of the banks of the pond. Waited for these batteries to finish charging and did some more research on those. I was having a hard time figuring out exactly where they're supposed to charge to what point. Usually my old charger would charge them to 13.3. These just seem to want to keep going with the new charger. So did some research and found out that they'll go all the way to 14.2, which is better because that's a higher capacity. So these are almost topped off. We're going to end the day and the weekend with putting these back at the solar pond, at the solar setup at the pond. And we're just going to go with these sets because these are the only 4 that we were able to completely top off for the weekend. The other set are in the back of my truck. I'll take them home with me to the suburbs and get those charged up. But the aerator should actually run fine on these as long as these are running fine. We won't have to set these into parallel mode because they're not parallel with the other set. It's just one set of 4 batteries run in series. Something that might be interesting to know is if you're in the market for solar equipment is that, you can, I've got 8 different 12-volt batteries here strung together in series, 2 sets of 4, creating 48-volt sets. 2 of those in series. Those batteries are wired together in series. And then I connect those 2 series into a parallel set, which bumps the amp hours up. You could go the route where I'm going, which is buy mini batteries and string them together, or you could buy one big battery that already has a lot of amp hours in it. I think I saw the advantage of doing it this way, the fact that if one battery goes bad, then you can take it out of the equation and replace it cheaply. If something goes bad in one battery, I don't know what you do. You just have to scrap the whole thing. So I feel like it's a little more flexible with replacing anything that may go wrong in this setup versus one big battery with a lot of amp hours. So that's why I did all of this. But anyway, we're gonna get these topped off. They're almost there. And then we're gonna head over to the pond, hook it up. I'll walk through the solar setup there and how it all works. and we'll call it a wrap for the weekend. Okay, so now that we got a little time for the batteries to top off underneath the shelter, and we put them at the pond, I'm going to show you a little bit about the solar system setup here at the base camp. Earlier in the videos today, or the episodes of this weekend, you saw us go down this trail a little ways, and there's a little bridge on the way to the pond, and there's a well pump there. It's a little white well pump. Probably see it in the videos, but anyway, that's where the water well is. And there's an electrical line run all the way up here to the base camp. And I'm going to turn this camera around in a minute to show you everything. But it feeds the well pump here, and then the solar panels on top of the shelter feed everything in the solar closet. So let's take a look. So starting at the top of the shelter, we've got all our panels. I think there's 15 up there, and they're 400 watts each. So, and they're divided up. I think only 5 of them feed the water pump, inverter and batteries, and then the other 10 feed the RV inverter and batteries. So that's about 2,000 for the water pump, water well. And right here's the line that comes up and goes on into the closet, and that's ultimately what everything's here feeds. It's going to throw the electrical charge to that and current down to the water pump so that it can, turn on, pull the water out of the ground, and then throw it through the pipes and bring it right back up here. So it starts here and ends here. Kind of cool. So in here we have both things running, but right here we have our water pump inverter. So in short, we've got the solar panels coming in, negative, positive, to a DC breaker. That DC breaker allows the current to be turned off or on, go into the inverter. That's a 3,000 watt, 24 volt inverter. And then, the batteries, negative or negative and positive. So the positive goes to a breaker and a cutoff switch, and to the batteries, negative straight down. These batteries are wired in parallel, which means we're going to get a boost in the amp hours instead of increasing our total wattage. That's typically better for longer running systems, for things to run longer. I won't get into that. That gets very technical. And I'm sure to say something wrong here, and if I do, please correct me in the comments. And there's a possibility that A, I said it incorrectly because I don't know any better, or number 2, I'm just rambling and things are coming out wrong. But anyway, back to this. So ultimately, that's the DC power in. You get DC power coming in, and it turns it into, the inverter turns it into AC power, which we normally use to run our stuff, our normal electronics, and it puts it to the AC outlet here, the breaker, down to the pump. So that's that. Over here, we've got the same setup. We've got our wires coming in from the other 10 panels up on the roof, and they come into our DC breaker to our inverter. Now this is a SunGold Power 6,000 kilowatts, or 6 kilowatts, 6,000 watt inverter. Very nice. I like the quality on this thing. And then again, you've got your negative and positive battery cables down to your battery backup. Your positive goes to a breaker out to the batteries. And these are a couple of battery packs. These are pretty expensive, each one of these. So the size of them are right there, 51.2 volts, and then 5120 watt hours. And they're in series, so you get double that wattage for these. This is good enough to run my 30 amp RV over here, and we got the AC out right here, which is a typical 30 amp. Let's see, 30 amp hookup is if you went to an RV place. I want it to be just a plug and play here. Pull any RV in, it's going to be plug in instead of wired directly to the RV. So there's that. And if I ever did upgrade the RV to maybe a Class A diesel 50 amp service motorhome, then that's just going to have to, I'll probably double that. Just double what I have there, double what I have down there, and I'll probably be in good shape. So that's it in a nutshell. You notice the AC, I don't really run that much. I did put it there. It's a low wattage AC. It does cool things off a bit in here in the really hot summer months. It only draws about 400 watts. but still it is a draw, and I'd prefer to use it elsewhere, so I don't use it that much. It stays cool enough in here as is. So yeah, if there's any questions about my setup here or any suggestions about what I should be doing instead, I know a lot of setups I've seen and people on the forums, they like to go with just one single battery instead of stringing a whole bunch of smaller 12-volt batteries together. I think I mentioned that earlier with the other setup I have, but I just prefer this in case there's a point of failure here. We can eliminate a small piece and replace it and keep the whole system going instead of like the whole thing going down, and then you're in trouble. You know, you either got to scrap it or you're going to be down for a while until you can replace that one piece. So that's it. I keep rambling, but yeah, leave some messages, ask any questions. Okay, so now that we got a little time for the batteries to top off underneath the shelter and we put them at the pond, I'm going to show you a little bit about the solar system setup here at the base camp. Earlier in the videos today, or the episodes of this weekend, you saw us go down this trail a little ways, and there's a little bridge on the way to the pond, and there's a well pump there. It's a little white well pump. Probably see it in the videos, but anyway, that's where the water well is. And there's an electrical line run all the way up here to the base camp. And I'm going to turn this camera around in a minute to show you everything. But it feeds the well pump here, and then the solar panels on top of the shelter feed everything in the solar closet. So let's take a look. So starting at the top of the shelter, we've got all our panels. I think there's 15 up there, and they're 400 watts each. So, and they're divided up. I think only 5 of them feed the water pump, inverter and batteries, and then the other 10 feed the RV inverter and batteries. So that's about 2,000 for the water pump, water well. And right here's the line that comes up and goes on into the closet, and that's ultimately what everything's here feeds. It's going to throw the electrical charge to that and current down to the water pump so that it can, you know, turn on, pull the water out of the ground, and then throw it through the pipes and bring it right back up here. So it starts here and ends here. Kind of cool. So in here we have both things running, but right here we have our water pump inverter. So in short, we've got the solar panels coming in, negative, positive, to a DC breaker. That DC breaker allows the current to be turned off or on, go into the inverter. That's a 3,000 watt, 24 volt inverter. And then, you know, the batteries, negative and positive. So the positive goes to a breaker and a cutoff switch, and to the batteries, negative straight down. These batteries are wired in parallel, which means we're going to get a boost in the amp hours instead of increasing our total wattage. That's typically better for longer running systems, for things to run longer. I won't get into that. That gets very technical. And I'm sure to say something wrong here, and if I do, please correct me in the comments. And there's a possibility that A, I said it incorrectly because I don't know any better, or number 2, I'm just rambling and things are coming out wrong. But anyway, back to this. So ultimately, that's the DC power in. You get DC power coming in, and it turns it into, the inverter turns it into AC power, which we normally use to run our stuff, our normal electronics, and it puts it to the AC outlet here, the breaker, down to the pump. So that's that. Over here, we've got the same setup. We've got our wires coming in from the other 10 panels up on the roof, and they come into our DC breaker to our inverter. Now this is a SunGold Power 6,000 kilowatts, or 6 kilowatts, 6,000 watt inverter. Very nice, I like the quality on this thing. And then again, you've got your negative and positive battery cables down to your battery backup. Your positive goes to a breaker out to the batteries. And these are a couple of battery packs. These are pretty expensive, each one of these. So the size of them are right there, 51.2 volts, and then 5120 watt hours. And they're in series, so you get double that wattage for these. this is good enough to run my 30 amp RV over here, and we got the AC out right here, which is a typical 30 amp. Let's see, 30 amp hookup is if you went to an RV place. I want it to be just a plug and play here. Pull any RV in, it's going to be plug in instead of wired directly to the RV. So there's that. And if I ever did upgrade the RV to maybe a Class A diesel 50 amp service motorhome, then that's just going to have to, I'll probably double that. Just double what I have there, double what I have down there, and I'll probably be in good shape. So that's it in a nutshell. You notice the AC, I don't really run that much. I did put it there. It's a low wattage AC. It does cool things off a bit in here in the really hot summer months. It only draws about 400 watts. But still, it is a draw, and I'd prefer to use it elsewhere, so I don't use it that much. It stays cool enough in here as is. So yeah, if there's any questions about my setup here or any suggestions about what I should be doing instead, I know a lot of setups I've seen and people on the forums, they like to go with just one single battery instead of stringing a whole bunch of smaller 12-volt batteries together. I think I mentioned that earlier with the other setup I have, but I just prefer this in case there's a point of failure here. We can eliminate a small piece and replace it and keep the whole system going instead of like the whole thing going down, and then you're in trouble. You know, you either got to scrap it or you're going to be down for a while until you can replace that one piece. So that's it. I keep rambling, but yeah, leave some messages, ask any questions, and I'll be happy to answer them. Okay, back out here on the pond, still waiting for those batteries to charge, so we're figuring we'd stay busy doing something productive. The vegetation, it's floating everywhere if you can't see. Let me switch this camera around so you can see. Okay, there you go. That stuff everywhere. It's just hideous. Not only is it on top of the water, it's down in the water too, everywhere. So what I've used before to try to get this out is I've got this rake, and I've got a long pole, aluminum pole, the extensions that go on that, and it comes out to about, I guess, 10 feet of aluminum pole. Honestly, it becomes very kind of tough and tiresome to use the pole, and I know you could use the string on it, and there's also a float that goes on the thing to get everything on top, but I went with the string just now with no float, so it'll just sink down and get anything, and it's actually doing a very good job. So I'm going to strap this on my head so y'all can see what I'm doing, and here we go. And let's show you what I'm talking about here. I've already gotten quite a few patches right here, so let's go to something that's a little bit bigger. We'll go for that glob right there. There's a glob. So here you go. All right, and pull it up nice and slow. Kind of went under all that. Got some up here at the edge. But maybe sometimes the float could be better. I always thought that when you saw a glob out there, it was all the way from the top to the bottom. But I'm starting to not believe that. I'm starting to think it's just floating, which is great because I can get that with the float that goes on top of this. It's mostly just like a pool noodle, swim noodle that you tie on the top of this. It keeps it floating. Let's see, there's some far ones out there, aren't there? See if I can get out there. Oh, no, I lost my rope. Oh, crap. At least that's a floating rope. Well, let me go get the boat. Rescue the rake. See, I knew something fun would happen if I tuned you guys in. So let's go save the rake. We will need this. Check. Any creatures under there, please go away. Don't scare the crap out of me. There we go. All right. Look at that vegetation through here. That's where I need to be working, right here. I think I'll get it and come back over here and start working. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tie, so that don't happen again, tie this end to here. I'm gonna loop it right across here. There you go. There. Oh Lord, got our work cut out here. It's a great spot to work on though. Oh my God. Look at that. Yes, sir. Now this buggy has a winch on the front, but with it wired in to the battery, it kept frying my ECU. So I had to disconnect it so my ECU would stay going. So that would be ideal if I could just hit that winch and pull it up. Just too time consuming if I got up here and wanted to drive the buggy, get my son out here, get Henry, Charlie, and just hook it up to the back of the buggy and tell him to pull it. I'm sure it'll get to that point, but this is just kind of proof of concept, and it's definitely proofing. Yeah, I like this. This is really getting it. Oh yeah. Yep. All right. Hit it, Henry. He just takes up off the heel. Don't grab that big, I didn't cut that grass right there. He's gonna hang onto the ground and put a lot of stress on the rake though that way. Gotta be careful. Yeah, but look at this, we're getting it. Just a lot of lake, a lot of pond to do here. But we're doing this in the right steps. Put the dye out to suppress any future growth, at least short term. Cut the trees down, quit contributing to the nitrates that grow the stuff, and then start pulling it out. There's no simple, easy formula to anything. Oh God, yeah, I already got a whole bunch. Oh God. I got the diffuser line. Damn it, I forgot about that. I need to fix that joint right there anyway. Let's see, if I pull, no, it's gonna put too much stress on everything. I gotta go back out in the boat. That was so much fun pulling up the hill. I'm glad I get to do it again. Let me go get my pieces to fix it with anyway. I've been noticing every time I turn it on, that joint right there is creating bubbles or it's leaking. I'd prefer to get rid of that leak and let's just take this whole thing. I'd prefer to get rid of that leak and let all that extra air go to the end where I intend it to go. So let's do things right. All right. Oh, I gotta look out for that pallet structure too. All right, so let's just come back this way. Maybe I had the pallet and not the diffuser line. Yeah, I just had the pallet. Good. Really glad I didn't have that diffuser line. But while I've got my tools and I'm out here, let's take care of that. You go back there. There we go. Yeah, that was working great. Just look out for the structure, which there ain't much structure at all. It's just that random one I put there. Okay, diffuser line. You're right through here somewhere. I'm sure I can pick you up if I just throw this rake one time. Actually, I'm getting too up on top of it. I should get back here. Where I was back there was probably the best spot to throw it. Let's see if we can get it right here. I think we can. That looks about right. Right along the bottom here. May have lifted up some. Oh, let's see. I think I got it. No. That should get it. It's grabbing grass and then pulling me to it too quick. And then it's lifting up off the bottom. Diffuser line. If not, then I'm going to... Look at this stuff, man. It's everywhere. It's crazy. And after I get all this up, I'm going to come out here with a trash pump and suck all this silt up. Be a beautiful pond when it's done. You know, you say that, but it's all this junk what's contributing to the water clarity. Sometimes you shoot yourself in the foot. Get rid of all this. That might be exactly why it's filtering all this water so clear. But we'll see. I'm gonna take my chances on that one. All right, let's just go over here and grab the line and follow it. Now at this point, I almost wish I hadn't gotten distracted. This is getting carried away. It's not that bad. There's the line right there. All right, I see the line. See the line. Okay. This is the aeration. Pond aerator. This is with the solar pump or solar system over there. The primary use for it is to power this aeration for summertime. I don't know what you can see and what you can't on top of my head, but I think that's good. Matter of fact, I'm gonna, here we go. Yeah, keep going this way. Come on, you got it. Oh, see, this is gonna be in the way of all the weed gathering too. I better be careful. Okay, it's on this side of that. I think it would be good. Put it on this side. Some fishing line. Oh man. We try not to get fishing line in here like this. It's got Henry written all over it right here. Henry written all over it right there. All right, put it right there. Here we go. We're about to be at that joint, I think, here in a sec. I don't think I'm putting enough pressure pulling me to disturb the end part down there. Any minute we should see a joint. Any second. Oh, there it is. Who is Rusty? Rusty. honest, it's so nasty and rusty. I don't know if I can fix it. It looks so tight though. It looks good. I can't believe any air's coming out of that right there. I guess I can try to tighten down on it a little bit. Hold right there. And let's go with, that may do it. Oh no, even better is to go with one of these guys. And I'm whispering for some reason. Sneaking up on it. Ambush. Ambush attack. Here we go. Is that too big? Yeah. Oh man, all these look too big. Where are the little ones at? Here they are. That's good for that one. This boat shifting. Okay. Get on there. I think that's enough to do it. Yeah, it's not. Wrong size. That's right. That looks right. Okay, that's tightening. I bet that's going. Oh, that's going to be good right there. I got it good. I tightened a few turns. Didn't feel like it was stripping either. What about this other one? What is your size? You're being annoying. Are you even a size? We're just gonna go straight screwdriver with you. Which is not great. I definitely strip this old stuff right here. That's what everybody's saying at home. So you won't strip that. Well, I know, but I ain't got a choice. I'm gonna try it. There we go. Tightened down pretty good. Oh, good. I bet that did away with my leak. We'll see when we put that battery on it later. All right, back into the ocean you go. At least I released something today into the pond. Okay. All right, so I gotta be, you get down there. I gotta be careful not to hit structure nor that thing. But we seen it's out here. All right, yeah, right on the other side of all this crap I'm getting. So I think we're in good shape. So avoid going out too far and avoid the little pallet structure. Oh, there it is right there. Yeah. All right, it's on the other side of the pallet structure. That's good. So just, if I see the pallet, I got to come on this side of the pallet. It's that simple. All right. We need to get back up there and get those batteries rotated, that starter. Let me get the buggy. I ain't pulling that sucker again. Don't go nowhere. Oh, this is actually how I do it. This strap's way stronger. Reach, please. Oh yeah, oh yeah. right, that'll do her. Hey, we've been made whole. Okay. There we go. All right, back to where we were. Let's go ahead and put our tools up in this fishing line. I got another buggy at home. It's a brand new one. Actually, not brand new, it's a 2023, but it's been garaged. And as soon as this thing puts out, which could be any day, I'm gonna go get the other one and bring it out here. All right, let's put this right here where we know to throw it away. Throw that away. All right, here we go. Back to what we were doing. Oh, I gotta go check the batteries. One more pull. One more pull is gonna get me in trouble. All right, I do see the pallet this time. And you see the awesome freaking path I've been creating there. This is gonna work great. It's gonna take some time, but it's gonna work. I'll get Henry to do this. I'll pay him 50 cents an hour. That boy don't know no difference. No other value than easily 20 bucks an hour. Right, here we go. Oh yeah, baby. Come to mama. Come to daddy. Yeah. Oh, minnow out there. It's cute. He's like, wee. Oh, my thing came off. I gotta be careful. I'll put that in a better spot. This is way better than the pole. It's amazing how much working with that pole on the end of this will wear you out. You don't feel so much of this rake when you just throw it and pull with a rope. All right, we're gonna come back, but I am going to do a better job here. Wish that old rope wasn't on there. Oh, it's so rotten. Come off of there. Oh well, let's just, there we go. Wrap it a couple of times. That ain't coming off. All right, let's go back, check the batteries, and then we'll head back. Okay, we are back here, and we got our batteries. I did not have the patience to go to 14.4 or 14.2, so I went to 13.45. That's where all of them mostly, like, I mean, I guess at that point it just takes forever. I don't know what it's doing. So, yeah, I don't like that, but I'm gonna go with it for now and see how this performs. The ones at home, I'll just try to charge to the same. They all need to be the same, because if you take the time and you charge like the other sets are 14.2, it's only going to be as strong as the weakest battery. So the 13.4 is where things are going to work at. So we'll try to set those to the same as 13.4 and get this thing tuned in, and maybe we can get it to charge completely up one day. But this should be very sufficient. So what we got to do here, they're in series, not parallel this time. Remember, they're going to be in parallel if we take the other one and connect them in parallel. But these are going to be connected in series, so I don't have the parallel on the Bluetooth. That's set to off. All we really need to do is take our lead wire from this, and I need to connect it to the other side. Let's go through here and keep this wire protected. So we'll come through here, go all the way down to there. I'll connect it there. And then this negative, we'll just do the same with that. Let me grab my screwdriver, or actually my pliers. So I got my pliers and my big screwdriver's in the bucket, I think, in the container. Okay. So, it better be. There it is. All right, so let's take this guy off. I need to... We're going to wire our positive terminal to our inverter. I want to check that. That's off. That's good because there's lots of sun today and that needs to be off. So here is our... Get that as tight with my hand as I can. That's pretty tight. Let's reach in and get our screwdriver. That was turning a little bit, so let me get that tight. That's tight. That's tight. That's tight. 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 That down there because we won't come that way. Now, again, same thing with this one. We'll come through here, keep this wire inside this thing and protect it. It'd be silly just to go into that hole over there and, you know what, that's pretty small, so I'm gonna go here. Maybe I go down this way, same thing, yep. Though I'd like to do this if I can. There we can. Go here. So 13.4 times 4. What did that give me? 13.4 times 4. Yeah, that gave me 53.6. 53.6 is the total voltage we're working with here. Okay, let's just leave that open for now. So we need to sort of maybe reprogram this inverter a little bit. I don't know. Let's just look at the settings right now. So first thing we want to do, should be fine. Hit the... Right here we will turn the battery on. That gives a connection from the battery to the inverter. Let's turn the inverter on. Right here we want to say 53.6. Why aren't you coming on? Why ain't that coming on? Let me get my 9. Something ain't right. Something ain't right at all. Alright, throw it. 9.2. Well, that's goofy. Something ain't right. Let's kill that. What am I missing here? Oh, I got this thing completely backwards. The red is supposed to go to where this black is. Wait, I'm not sure. I might have to consult Google. But for sure. Let's take this off. That ain't right. We know that much. And then once this is off, let's see. Let's do some more reads with the thing. Actually, I could use my phone, but that's on my head. Let's see here. Let's just go here and here. 4.71. 4.5. What in the hell's happened? 4. 13. Okay, there it is. We're not tying into this thing right. All right, I'm gonna consult Google. Or probably the video I had before I unhooked this whole thing that I showed you guys. Huh. Okay, I'm back. Did some research and I found out that these batteries are smarter than I am. So when I went into the app, I saw it had some warnings that said things weren't connected well, which they actually were. But what I had connected, there were some settings in the batteries that said charging and discharging, and they weren't set correctly and ready for the inverter. So did some Google searches and I got the charging and discharging settings correct on each battery, restarted them. And now if I take my reading, you'll see we got 53.4, which is where we want to be. Because this is a 40, there's 4 12-volt batteries wired in series and 13.4 variation. Some of them have decreased a little bit, and it gives you that 53.4 total. So now we should theoretically be ready to connect these. So I'm going to go back to where we were. I'm going to take this dude. I will put it here, just like we were before. Yeah, these batteries are, since I bought them, they released some kind of firmware update on the app. Some settings have changed, probably for the better. I just wasn't ready for them or understood them, but I'm understanding them as I work with them. So I'm gonna take another reading after I get this hooked up, tighten that down. Where are my pliers? Where did my pliers go? There they are, I'm standing on them. Tighten that down real good. And I'm gonna test that voltage again before I flip on the inverter. Just to make sure everything's kosher. Didn't mess up anything. We shouldn't have. At 53.4 still, that's great. Okay, now, so what happened before when we read it and it said 4 volts or 9 volts or whatever, very low, this has to have a certain number of volts on it to power it. So it didn't have enough volts. So now we'll fire it up and it should work fine. We'll see it come on. It takes a and I gotta flip the switch on here. All right. It should be coming on. What's going on? When I flip that on, did it knock something out of whack with the batteries again? Let's check my voltage. So we still have 11.5. When I turn that on, something happens. I gotta understand what the heck's going on. Well, these smart batteries are trying to outsmart me. I mean, that's how it should work. Let me get back on my app. Okay, so I really hope I don't have to reference my phone anymore because that totally kills the video. I need to figure that out in future episodes. But what I found was, man, interesting. It happened again. And then I read that there's a number of reasons that can I was getting hardware protection failures on 2 and 4. And the software, the app, WattCycle app, told me that they were failing. And what I found out was the reason for that was it says it could be a number of reasons. One, that there's too much variation in the voltage of the batteries in series. That some are too high, one's higher than the other, and they're just too much variance, and they need to be all topped up to the high level. That's a good rule of thumb. But I did get them very equal in charging. They're not at the very top, but I got them equal, very close and equal. So I didn't think that was it, but then they said that sometimes inverters can throw a large voltage hit at the batteries when it's first turned on, and that can sometimes cause it to go into protection mode. So what I did in that case is I disconnected the batteries altogether. I made sure that my voltage was good, like it should be, because I reset my app. And then I turned on the solar panels and turned on the inverter, and that powered the inverter. That gave it enough to run the inverter without throwing I guess that supplemented it startup. So when I had that running already, and then I hit the battery power, no hardware failure after that. Everything's working fine. So now I'm just going through the new settings. Since these batteries have a little bit higher capacity, I'm resetting my settings on the inverter for everything. But we appear to be in good shape. I want to finish up these few settings and then go back to the main panel to see what everything's going on with the inverter and the batteries and the charging. So let's get down to 35. I know it's something I have to do. These settings get very involved. And they're pretty much the same for every inverter. Battery low voltage, default's 50.4. I've got mine at 53.4. So that means it would have to get below that before you do a full recharge again. That saves battery cycles, charging cycles, which extends the life of your battery. So let me get over here and let's go back to the default now that I'm working with full capacity. Because these defaults are based on full capacity. When I say full capacity, I mean 14.2 instead of 13.4, which is what I've usually been doing because my old charger would not go past that. Okay, so that's set 37. The next one is the last setting for me. So that's 36, 37, 52. That's the default. That's good. We're going to leave it like that. Okay, all those should be done. So let's hit set. So we're at 53.9. I don't know why we're not charging. 53.8. We should have a charging light on here. Nothing's running. There's no load. Again, I probably need to get my app out and look at it while I see what's going on here. But it seemed like it was charging until I changed one of my settings earlier. This stuff's really sensitive and technical. There's a lot of variables. One can overthrow the other setting. And it seems like it was this bypass the battery. As soon as I did that, things stopped. So let me go back to that one. That's setting 5. 56. I had something much lower. I don't know what it was, but let me just throw something lower in there. Let's just say that, and then enter. Come back here as it start charging. No. I'm going to put that back to where it was. 5, 5, 5. And let's put this one on 56. And there was one right before that, 46. Battery to bypass. That was the one I might have changed, so let's increase it. I think it was increased. Put some up there like this. I don't know what. Try that. And start charging now. No, I'm going to go with all the defaults here because it's for an L16 battery type, which is exactly what this is. 4. Then I'm on throw a load on it and see what's going on, but I'm gonna have to look at my app. Okay. Well, let me run it with a load and check my app, and then I'll be back. We can wrap this up. Okay, so you could hear the pump running. I've got a load on it, obviously. Check the app while everything's running. There's a load, and it shows the amps and watt usage from each battery. And based on the help I was getting online, it's reflecting exactly the numbers it should for when it's drawing the load and distributing the load amongst the batteries. So that's great. The app is actually really good. It sounds like it's tedious, it sounds like it's a pain in the butt, but it gives you the information you really need to make sure everything's in the right order. And as we saw, it's got some safety features in it that will cripple you if you don't get things fixed or understand how things are working. So, you know, now the only thing I'm looking at here is I know I'm drawing a load. I've got my batteries, or right here is 53. 53.8 is 100% state of charge for what I have my battery set at. And it has decreased, but I'm wondering why the charge has not turned on yet with the full sun overhead. Obviously, if you understand this well, or just understand my question and my answer, just drop something in the comments and let me know why I'm not seeing a charge here while this is running. Of course, the batteries are still up there 99%, and I did set some settings in there to tell it to charge at certain windows and this and that. There's just a lot of variables going on, I'm not gonna lie, but I just always hope to see that it's like charging while it's pulling power from the batteries. But I think there's a setting in there saying don't start recharging until it hits a certain low threshold. But anyway, that's that. You can see out there the two diverters right now from the aerator. Walk this way. We do not see any bubbles, right? Remember earlier we were fixed the line right here for the leak, and there's no bubbles at all here, so that's good. We fixed that. And we can see in a distance, or at least I can, way over there you've got the other small aeration going. I need to really pull those up, pull the weeds around them, and clean them, because they're not putting near as much output as they used to right over there. They just need to be pulled up and all the weeds pulled out and cleaned, but you can see the presence of them right there still. Okay, that about does it. I'm worn out. You know, I like off-grid, but after 3 days of constant work like this, sometimes I'm kind of glad to get back to the suburbs. Not gonna lie, it's a nice healthy mix of both environments. But I've come here, I've made improvements, enhancements, and it always makes me look forward to the next time out, where I can continue to compound on those efforts and make things just better for the long run. That does it. I'm gonna stop recording for the weekend, and hopefully you got something out of the videos and the information. I know there's a lot of it. There's a lot of me rambling, but appreciate you being here, and see you in future episodes. Bye-bye.